So if you're watching this, I'm assuming the question has come up in your mind that you're not an artist, maybe you're not a painter, maybe you're not a musician, so what does creation have to do with me? See, I used to believe the same thing. I used to believe that the word creator was reserved for artists or something close, but I was very wrong. Being a creator is nothing but a mindset. In fact, we're all creators. I'm going to show you exactly how to shift from being a consumer this year to being a producer in 3 steps, and I guarantee you if you make this shift, your life will change drastically. So the problem is we are wired to consume. We watch what they broadcast, we eat what they make, and we do what they say. And the issue with that is that you have zero control over what your life actually looks or feels like. You just have to abide by the rules. So let me ask you a question. How many more reels will you watch, or self-help videos will you listen to, or courses will you buy before you realize the fact that until you switch to being a creator and a producer and not a consumer, nothing in your life is going to change? Imagine consumption was an actual thing. It was a little demon that lived inside of you. Everything you fed it made it stronger. Every reel, every TikTok, every YouTube video, every song helps it grow larger, and it helps it control your emotions and actions. So choosing to opt out or at least dial back the amount you consume is the only way that you win in this life, and that will put you back in the driver's seat. When you consciously choose to consume less, then you're going to have more energy and time to know what to do with. So channeling that into creation is the best possible thing you can do. By being a creator, you make something tangible in this world. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you have to build the next multi-million-dollar business or create the next Mona Lisa. Simply by sharing your ideas or at least documenting your journey, you're doing something that everyone else isn't. You are giving instead of taking. If all you do is take, you become a bot. I like to believe what separates us from AI is our ability to think with intention, to use and weave in our human experience and emotion into the things that we create. And I feel like now more than ever the world needs this. True change makers and the ones that left a mark on history are in some way a creator. If you look at Jeff Bezos, modern day businessman, he's a creator. If you look at Shakespeare, who was a writer, he's still a creator. If you look at Plato, who was a philosopher, he was a creator. Taking an idea out from your mind and bringing it out into the world is what makes the world go round. And what it does is it creates immeasurable ripple effects in the people who choose to consume it. How many people have been inspired by the 3 people I just named? So it begs the question, how do I create if I feel like I've got nothing to give? Well, I'm here to tell you, you definitely do have something to give. Creating is simple. It's bringing something into existence that wasn't there before. It could literally be just a conversation. It could be a solution to a problem. It could be a note to a friend, or it could be a new route home. Rick Rubin said, what you make doesn't have to be witnessed, recorded, sold, or encased in a glass box for it to be considered a work of art. Through the ordinary state of being, we are already creators, creating our experience of reality and composing the world we perceive. See, whatever it is you end up creating ignites a spark in someone else and creates a chain reaction. And ultimately, that's the goal, to transform the world using your gifts of creativity and your unique lens. I remember when I was like 17 or 18 and I watched this Tupac interview, and he said that
ain't that what we're supposed to do? I'm not saying I'm gonna rule the world or I'm gonna change the world, but I guarantee that I will spark the brain that will change the world. And that's our job, is to spark somebody else watching us.
And it got me thinking that maybe that's the objective of all art. That always stuck with me, and he definitely sparked my mind. So my point is, you need to reframe how you see creation in general. It's not just art. It's actually the best possible way for you to provide value to someone else. And by not doing this and choosing just to consume over create, you're not only failing yourself, you're robbing the world of what it potentially needs to see or hear. The idea behind this video was to inspire you to build something that has been in your mind. I've been creating something for the better part of 10 years now, but now I feel more aligned than ever. I didn't exactly know when I first started what I wanted to create, but what I did do is I started putting stuff out there, and I failed 1,000 times over. Throughout my decade, I've had 3 failed businesses, 2 successful ones, and a restaurant, none of which were truly aligned with what I actually wanted to do, but they were necessary stepping stones in my journey of creation. Because when I made the mindset shift from consumer to producer, it's like I saw the world in a completely different way. I focused on creating value for my customers. That was literally my first insight into being a producer. For example, things like Black Friday was no longer a day for me to shop for deals, but for me to create the best offers for my customers. I used all these lessons I had in business and I channeled it into my art and into what I'm doing now. Into building my main YouTube channel out, if you haven't seen it, into building this channel out, into building my show, my Instagram. Now I'm actually creating something I'm aligned with, something that's meaningful, something that I get messages over, that I am impacting people's lives. You also have the ability to do that, but it's suppressed inside of you, probably because your limiting beliefs have taken the driver's seat in your mind. But if you think about it, creating and creation is a primal instinct. We all have to do it. Basically, we all need a place to play. kids have playgrounds, musicians need an instrument, so we need a place to experiment and turn thoughts into reality. There's this myth that you hear growing up that the happiest people in the world are retired early on a beach somewhere and just relaxing, spending most of their days just chilling really, but the truth is the happiest people are actually locked away in their room working on something that they love, that they want to build and put all their time and energy into. Obsession is a thing that can't be taught. It's an energy flywheel that keeps on turning and consumes your entire being. And I love this quote about it. It says, we're all on a lifelong quest to build something for others that expresses who you are. Basically, we're under the illusion that we're building for other people, but in reality, we're trying to build something that is an extension, true extension of us. And when I think about it, it's true. Every video I post, every tweet I make, every newsletter I send out is a true reflection of me and an extension of my creativity. See, what you put out creates a ripple effect into the universe. The impact one tweet, one line, or one video can have on someone else is actually immeasurable. Someone broke it down to me once like this: your life's work should be done for others, which is an act of creation, done for its own sake, so not for any awards, and done as a unique extension of you, so you're the only one that does it. When it comes to actually creating something and shifting your mind into a creator mindset, I always think about this quote from Michelangelo where he said, the sculpture is already complete underneath the marble block. I just have to chisel away the material. And basically the same is true with you and I. Whatever it is that you're going to create already exists inside of you, but you just have to chisel away the programming and the material that's around it. So how do you do that, you might ask? Well, I think it's all about tuning your mind correctly. If you think of your mind as an antenna and it receives signal, you have to understand that the clearer the signal you get, the easier it is to understand what it is you're supposed to do here. But most of us are just hearing noise and a lot of blur, so we need to be able to filter that out. For me, what works, if you want direct transmission from the universe or from God or from a higher power, then go and be alone, go and be solitary in nature. No headphones, no phone, no book. In these moments, you'll truly hear what it is you're supposed to hear, if you're dialed in. My point is, your environment and your inputs are the most important factor when it comes to receiving ideas and tuning your antenna. So consumption is not all bad. You can't abandon it completely, but you just have to dial it back, like I said in the beginning. And also be completely conscious and intentional about what it is you end up consuming. Be mindful about it. Go outside, read good books, watch good films, listen to good music. That's all fine, but just find the things that resonate with you and find the things with deeper messages and meanings. Again, Rick Rubin says that the objective is not to make art, it's to be in a state of mind where art is inevitable. So ideas are all around you. If you're worried that you're short for ideas, understand that the film you watched, the music you listened to, the podcast you heard, the lyrics you just listened to on the radio, all serve as ingredients for your work if you're tuning your awareness properly. Anyone who knows me knows that I've tuned my radar to be very sensitive, so if you're around me, I'm constantly taking screenshots, pictures, notes, looking at art, looking at design, looking at billboards of ads. It becomes relentless awareness without any effort, and it never turns off. But what I found is eventually all of these things that I'm consuming intentionally all weave their way into my work. Whether that's my newsletter, whether that's an idea for a video. For example, this video you're watching now is not really one night of writing, it's actually 10 years of collecting ideas and understanding different frames of mind, weaving in articles or quotes that I've read from Rick Rubin or Tupac, movies I've seen, conversations I've had, and experience I've had from building things. So my final piece of advice when it comes to shifting from a producer to consumer and making sure that you create and don't consume this year is find your edge and then lean into it. Basically, your edge in life is what you notice but no one else does. So ask yourself next time, what is it that you see that no one else does? For example, when you're out with friends, is there something in particular that stands out to you when you're out? When, like I said, maybe it's a billboard, maybe it's a certain topic that you obsess over. I found that obsession is in the details. If you really care about the details about something, chances are that's where your obsession lies and that's where your edge is. Basically, the best ideas are right in front of you. And look, following your intuition is not going to be easy, especially when you're surrounded by the mob mind, people who choose to plug themselves into the matrix, if you want to call it, or just our consumption bots. But that is what will separate you from them, and that's what makes you the 1% and not the 99%. It's your ability to know when to stop consuming and when to start creating. There's a great quote I love from this guy called Zach on Instagram that I follow, and he says, give the world something it hasn't seen before. Do it relentlessly and patiently because most of your stuff will be forgotten. But one day, you'll make something so true, so real, and so unique that it can't be forgotten. It will embed itself into people's lives and their way of thinking, and it will help them become more of themselves. And once you experience that, creating something from within you that other humans love, your life will never be the same. And then the game actually starts. And that's where I'm at right now. I feel like the game is actually starting. I've briefly tapped into my ability to create and make something that other people love. And I've definitely felt the rewards. And it's simply because I decided to put my phone down and start creating instead. Final thing, if you're on the edge of creating something and you're struggling with perfectionism, this is something I struggled with too. until I heard this quote: "Perfectionism is procrastination masquerading as quality control." So I heard this a while back, and in simple terms, what you tell yourself is perfectionism is really just procrastination. Perfection doesn't exist. You have to understand that the price of creating something is sharing it, and your flaws are probably what makes your work great. And I always find comfort in knowing that whatever I release into the world, it's not going to be perfect, but it's going to be a truest reflection of who I am in that moment. I probably, a year later, probably will look back and won't like it, but that's completely fine, because that's how you measure growth. So with that being said, the message I want you to take away today is that the creator inside of you needs to come out this year in 2025, or whenever you're watching this. You need to give back to the world, be more selfless than mindlessly consuming and taking and taking and taking. Not only does it help the world, but it will help yourself too. You don't need another course, you don't need another self-improvement video. You already know what it is you need to do. Just start creating something. And like I said, it doesn't have to be big. You don't have to be a content creator posting videos on YouTube like I do. You can be someone that helps your local community. You can create something for that. You can create something for your family or your close friends. But experiment aggressively until you find that one act of creation that feels like caffeine. For example, if I start planning a video or start planning a shoot with a guest, I can do it all night and it feels more energetic than caffeine. Or if I'm dialed in while I'm writing a newsletter, that's how I know that I've picked the right vehicle. And ultimately remember that everything you create is a stepping stone for your ultimate purpose. I don't know what mine is yet, but I definitely know that these videos and these messages are a part of it. So hopefully this will push you to create and help you break the idea and notion in your mind that being a creator is just a label that's reserved for artists. The new year is here, and hopefully in 2026 you look back with pride on the things that you've created, rather than just spending another year mindlessly consuming and numbing yourself. But as always, the choice is yours. And by the way, this is 1 out of 8 steps that I put together that's completely free. If you want it, below, it's an 8-step self-mastery blueprint that I literally followed and designed myself for a decade. I've time tested it. I've tested it with creators in my network, 7-figure creators, through from step 1 all the way through to step 8 on the things that you need to do to transform your life this year. If you want to accelerate your self-mastery journey, then click the first link in the description below or on the comment and download that for free. I'll send it straight to your inbox. So make sure you subscribe to this, click that link, subscribe to my main channel, and I look forward to seeing what you create.